25 years in the tech industry, holding a host of different positions, working with a number of different companies and gaining a plethora of job experience. But across all these experiences, across all these companies, across all these people, what was the one thing that he realized was so important and crucial and essential to anything? Cash flow. So how did this realization not only shape his approach to his career, but also propel him and allow him to do what it is that he does now? Because as a fractional CTO, I don't know how many of y'all have heard that term before, but I did not know what that meant. Yes, I knew what the word fractional meant. Yes, I knew the roles and responsibilities and duties of a CTO, but ultimately when you combine the two, I was clueless. So Oshri really broke it down, took a deeper dive, and even told me one thing that really stood out to me. His job is to make himself irrelevant. Now, what would you do if someone told you that? Would you want to bring them into your business? Would you hear them out as to why they say that? Would you understand the roles and responsibilities and take a chance on them to see what they can do for you and your business? Well, I don't know about you, but after this episode, you may just want to do just that. So without further ado, enjoy episode 162, Here Today, Gone Tomorrow. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Down to Business podcast here with Tamar Turner. Look, I'm already feeling the energy before the interview even got started, so I know this is really going to be a good one. And I'm not really saying that to knock anybody previous or to knock anybody who was before him, but he came with the energy already. I'm loving it. It looks good. He sounds good. So it's just, look, this today is going to happen the way that it should happen. So very excited to be sitting down with my guy Oshri today, man. I have to give a big shout out to Kitcaster, man. I feel like at this point they may even need an in-ad promotion on my podcast just for how much they've been able to connect us and everything of the sort. They've really been sending me some very dope guests and putting us on nothing but game here at Down to Business. So very grateful for everyone on the Kitcaster side of things. But nonetheless, I really want y'all to be able to tap in to figure out what Oshri, one, is coming to talk to us about, but two, how he may even be able to help you, a business that you know, a startup that you may know, or maybe even give you some tips and tricks as to how to better scale and better get really better results from your business and what you're doing already. So Oshri, how you doing today? How's everything on your end?
I am doing fantastic. I'm taking the summer really chill. I'm only handling one client the whole summer. I'm outside a lot. I work out a lot. It's fantastic. If the sun is out and it's summer, I don't want to be in my office, but I can do that because I'm self-employed.
Okay. Well, I'm not mad. The sun is hitting, the light is looking good. So I love that. Already got the summer mapped out and planned out. All right. So for the people who may not even know what type of clients that you work with, who you're working with currently, for the people who may not even know what you do, your name, anything, can you bring everybody up to speed? Can you get everybody on the same page? Can you, one, just tell us a little bit about yourself? And then can you, two, just tell us what brings you on the Down to Business podcast today?
So a little bit about myself. I get to talk about myself, my favorite part of the podcast. I'll tell you that much, right? It's like, then you have to listen on top of that. And I got these people in the car. So a little bit about myself. I'm in technology, 25 years now, right? I started in high school building websites and whatnot, right? I had a short stint in the porn industry, building their websites. That was a disgusting industry, but hey, money's money, and they were the only ones hiring in 2001. I tell you, did short stints at some startups, consulting firm, had a consulting firm myself, grew it to about 2 million ARR, which was nice. Financial crash of 2008 kicked my ass big time. I learned the importance that cash flow is more important than your mother. And I love my mother, but cash flow more important than my mommy. Right? That's the reality. Went back to work and filled various roles: director, VP, CTO, manager, senior developer, principal, all sorts of roles. And I realized something. And then I left 10 years later, right? And to start my own project, I realized something. Most of these roles have a complete bullshit job description. Nobody knows what the hell they're supposed to do. In one company, the VP of engineering is negotiating contracts. In another company, the guy's doing, or the gal is doing code reviews. Okay, great, right? Sorry for the technical lingo, but in startups, you'll understand what I'm talking about. That's for sure. The founders better understand what I'm talking about. And so I realized it made no sense. And I was applying for CTO roles, and each one was different. Each one had completely different requirements that made no sense. One company, I think it was a real estate company. The CTO only dealt with deploying software. I'm like, that doesn't make any bloody sense. What would I be doing that? Right. And so, I went the fractional route, and I realized that companies needed technical leadership and technical strategy, but they didn't need it full time. It's like needing a lawyer. Very rarely will you need a corporate lawyer in house because you have that many deals, that much stuff that needs to be done. You don't actually need that, right? And so the fractional CTO concept was born. I didn't create it. It was very popular in Europe. In Europe, they like to borrow, they like to rent, they like to use what they need during the time they need it and then release it, right? It's not a very I want to have these people on board all the time. And so I borrowed from a European colleague that I saw that was blowing up their business, and introduced it in North America around 2 years ago, and now it's exploding. I don't know if I'm the cause or I just caught onto the wave at the beginning. I think I just got onto the wave. I'm going to be very humble in this case, right? I got onto the wave, and I've been writing it ever since. For the last 2 years, I've been writing for clients at the same time every day. It's actually quite nuts. It's actually quite nuts. Yeah.
That's interesting. And then even as you were talking, I was more so thinking about what you said, how two companies could have the same role, the same position open, but the responsibilities and the duties could be two totally different things. So now I'm actually thinking that I'm actually about to start paying attention to that, how these roles differ and what really the responsibilities are and what really meshes, what really doesn't make sense, what they're doing, what they're not doing. So in hearing the verse of experience that you have, just the different positions, different companies, different industries, different this, different that, why would you say, and even if you attribute it to a specific reason, would you say there was something that kept you bouncing around? Did you kind of just join companies or become a part of them to get them to a certain point to do maybe a certain role, knock something out, and then move on? Was it the companies themselves? Did it differ per industry? What really kind of kept you moving around and constantly floating?
The reason I kept on floating was partly most of the companies I worked for were toxic environments. I loved my jobs. I hated my bosses. In my first stint as CTO, I was literally told by the founder, I don't want a person of color working for me. In 2012? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I quit my job 3 days later. I'm like, nope, not gonna have it. I'm out. I'm bouncing. Right? A year and 7 months into that job, I loved it. I'm like, but this guy's good, and I can't because of what? What is the one habit? Anyways, right? It's nonsensical. But I was with one of those, and then another person was just verbally abusive, and what I realize is when you take out the personality issues of these individuals, the role itself, the role of the CTO itself evolves way too quickly for it to be filled by a single individual. That's the problem. I like to say that the CTO roles evolves 4 times over 4 generations of your business. And in a startup, a generation could be 6 months because suddenly you got 20 million funding, you're exploding. Suddenly you need a different CTO altogether, from pre-investment to post-investment, or pre-series A to post-series A. You need a different grade completely, right? Phase 1, at the beginning, you need an engineer. You need a person who can code, a creative, an artist. Go in, do everything that they need to do, right? And by the way, do they deserve, a ton of equity? No, they don't. They don't deserve any equity. Not at that stage. They're writing code. Let's keep it chill, all right, guys? They're going to work for you because you're paying them a salary. Equity is when you can't pay a salary, and at that point, we'll talk about the reason why you can't even get that arrangement. Just is nonsensical entirely. So phase 1, you need an engineer. Phase 2, you need a manager because now you got a team. That person now has to move from deeply creative all the time, solving problem on his or her own, to managing people and getting the best out of them. That transition is incredibly difficult. for anybody, for any human. It is incredible. And in a very short period of time. I'm coding. Hey, buddy, we got investment. We got to hire a team. Whoa. Now I got to manage people? Now I'm not coding anymore. Now I got to design solutions. I have to communicate? What? What do you mean? Right? Generation three is a leader. Now you've got multiple managers. You've grown again. Maybe you're Series B. Now you're a leader. Now you have to actually guide your managers who will guide their people. Completely different concept. Completely different. And generation four is a visionary. At that point, new business ideas are coming through the CTO. CTO is the right hand of the CEO, just like the COO is the left hand of the CEO, right? We all work together. But you need a person with business acumen. You don't need an engineer at that point. And in a startup that's going to evolve rapidly over 2 years, maybe 4 years, 5 years, it's pretty short to grow from 0 to 200 employees. We've seen it happen. It happens all the time. Suddenly there's a hiring push because they got 100 million, right? And so it went from a small organization to a big boy company. And the CTO is the same person? How does that make any bloody sense? Now, sometimes, in rare occasions, they rise up to the task and it makes sense. But a lot of times it does not, and then they can end up keeping the wrong person on staff. As such, I recommend that startups never hire a CTO. Not for the first 4 years. Hire an engineer, put the rest of the money that you were going to give them into marketing or sales. Even more important, get that selling. Let's go. Push that sale, those sales. Push the marketing, the branding, whatever it is, right? Invest in a fractional CTO. I know I'm selling myself. Surprise, right? But it's true. Hire a fractional CTO because I charge a fraction of what the CTO will actually charge you. You can retain me for a whole year, 2 hours a day. And let me tell you, 2 hours of focused work a day is basically 8 hours a day of a full-time employee, right? So I'm focused 2 hours a day per client. I'm deep in it. It's mentally exhausting, but I get paid accordingly, right? You can retain me for a whole year at the cost of a senior developer, and you get 20 years of experience. That's where the value proposition is. You get the person you actually need to get, because if you wanted to hire me full-time, that'd be $500,000 a year, plus equity, plus bonus, plus, right? Plus all these things. That's it. Yeah, that's me.
Hey, but that's very important, and that's very interesting too. Because I feel like what you really touched on was the evolving of a business, of a company, of a startup, and how with change, with evolving, when you think about anything, when animals evolve, when we evolve, when the world evolves, things change. What was in that position at one point may not be there anymore. So I definitely do think you made a great point, and I hope that didn't go over people's heads about as the business changes. Sometimes that person that was in position or that was there or that was doing that can't necessarily still be that person. You're scaling different. Your clients are different. Your branding different. Marketing is different. And instead of, like you said, dumping that bucket onto that one person or that role of responsibility, see what you can do this way. See what you can do that way to continue to, because that's not the only way. You don't live and die by your CTO. You don't live and die by any just one person in the organization. It became a collective effort. Okay, so I want to more so talk about the term fractional. I know that a CTO is a chief technology officer.
Mm-hmm.
Where does it differ when you throw the word fractional in there? Was this coined as a way of these working through these phases? Is fractional CTO really just a position that companies look for? Give me a little bit of a deeper dive into that.
So the fractional business model has existed for 10, 20, 30 years. Not as CTO though. CTO is really very much maybe the last 3-4 years tops. I can't find any mention prior to that, right? You've had the fractional COO. You have the fractional CMO. You have the fractional CEO at times, an interim CEO that comes in while they find a full-timer, right? The fractional CTO concept is new because the fallacy is that you needed this full-time individual in your organization, and you don't. That's the reality. You don't need someone doing technical strategy all day long. You need someone to come in, build a system that allows all of the developers, the department to work in a self-sustained way. Put in the right pieces in place, train, mentor, coach, build up the processes, let them do their work. You think as fractional CTO, I'm in there all day long reviewing code of my developers? At the beginning, yes, to make sure that they all know what the heck they're talking about and to see if there's any skill gaps. But afterwards, within 2 months, nope, I'm done. You guys go review your own code, self-review. The value proposition of the fractional CTO is that I want to be fired. I want to be fired. I don't want to be with your company forever. It doesn't make any bloody sense, right? If I'm there, I'm not doing my job, right? My job is to make myself irrelevant. That's the thing. Now, that's it. That's it. Now, fractional is 25% of the time. That's it. So one fractional CTO typically has 4 to 5 clients at any given moment. And that's 4 or 5 client problems, different industries, different solutions, different team dynamics. The amount of experience I gather and I bring from different clients is an added value. Where your traditional CTO, oh, you worked at this company, great for a few years, and then you worked at this company, great for a year. Okay, great. I work at 4 companies at a time. And then I advise another 6 others who can't afford a fractional, so they hire me on an advisory basis, right? That's the value prop right there.
Interesting, and I love that. Just how you, in a sense, you don't confine yourself, even as a CTO, even if some companies may not be in that position, or even if they may not be ready or there yet, or the budget or whatever. Like you said, you can be an advisor. You can do anything of that sort. I want to go back just a little bit to something that you said, and I want to get just a little bit more specific. So you said within the first 4 years of business, they don't need it. What do you say to companies who feel as if they're on a different growth track, on a different scaling track? Companies who feel like that their marketing and their branding is on point, is up to date? What do you? They may say, Oshri, okay, well you're kind of talking as if I'm this type of business, or maybe I'm on a smaller scale. But for us, what if I feel like we knocked out our 4-year goals already? We knocked out our 5-year goals. Why are you still telling me that I don't need to bring you in until that year 5?
Well, no, you need to bring me in at year 1 or year 0. The sooner I have a fractional CTO, or not just a fractional CTO, a really strong technologist, not an engineer, a technologist, one who understands the engineering and business together. The CTO is a dual role. It is a businessman, woman, man, whatever, right? And an engineer together. When I make a decision, I make it from a business point of view, from an engineering, from a technical, from an operational point of view. I need to have all of these decisions all at the same time, right? All of these variables being computed at the same time. This is not a skill that is easy to find. That's the reality. It's just not a skill that is easy to find, right? And if you do find it, let me get into the part. Well, you know what? I've got the money. I've got the money, so I'm gonna find my full-time. Say, I'd rather have a full-timer. I don't want to share. Okay, fine. Very North American thing, not sharing. Europe, they love to share. Love it. It's all about that healthcare, right? It's all about sharing, giving to the people, right? But North America, not very much. The reality is that even if you have $500,000 to hire me full-time, great, fantastic. I won't have much to do. I just won't have enough work to keep me interested. So I'll stay for a year. I'll wait for my equity for the equity cliff so I can invest. I'll take my 25% of my allotted amount, and then I'm gonna quiche out because I'm bored. There's not much to do. That's the reality. There's just not much to do, right? And that happens more often than not. Most of the companies that I have worked with and I have saved because they came to me, they said my CTO just left. What happened? Well, a year in, 2 weeks after their vesting, they vested, they paid the money, they bought their shares, they got the paperwork that they own shares, they left. Well, yeah, that's tough shit. Happens. That's what happens. How much did you give? 10%. Oh, whew. Ooh, boy. Oh, you're a first time founder, aren't you? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you made that classic mistake. Yeah, yeah. The second year founder, they do it on a 2 year cliff. You got to keep them for 2 years. Give them 50%, but on a 2 year cliff, you know? So, so that's it. That, yeah.
I like that. And I just like how sometimes no matter how you may feel, no matter what business may show you, no matter what you're physically seeing, once you really get into it, once you get into the intricacies, the crevices, everything of the sort, you really realize, like you said, you're not as ready as you thought, or there's not really much here to do as you thought. Like you said, I could quickly come in, knock my 2 hours out of dedicated, focused, hard work, and I could knock out really a lot for your brand, a lot for your business, a lot of things that y'all probably didn't even realize. And then after that, I'm done. I'm bored. What am I doing? On to the next company. Let me take on another venture. Let me do something new.
Yeah. Well, that's the reality. There's just not much. You're gonna ask me to code. I don't want to code. I'm not gonna code every day. I code for different reasons, right? I'm a fantastic engineer, but I don't want to code all day long. That's not what I aspire to. So early stage startups, forget about it. Now, you want me to manage a team of 3 people? Ugh. Second generation startup, forget about it, right? Now you want me to come in and you want me to run like a whole like department. I don't know these people. I didn't grow this company. I didn't. Sure, could be interesting, but again, all I'm doing is managing people. And for me, I need to be involved in business and engineering and architecture. I'm a multifaceted person. That's my dyslexia right there, man. That's my superpower. I should wear a cape with a D on it, right? Because I think about everything all at the same time. I see all variables, right? The all-seeing CTO, so to speak. But I'd be bored personally.
And that's really what I'm noticing about you is that you're so engaged and involved that you're thinking about things that they're not thinking about. You're thinking about how the CTO role can be so confined or even sometimes too expansive or not in a certain state. The fact that you broke this down into phases and stages just lets me know that it's way more to this role than what meets the eye. But something that I'm also very interested to hear your taking on is, okay, so we talked about how in the beginning a lot of what kind of kept you floating or leaving on top of like toxic culture, on top of boredom, on top of people maybe just not being or needing you the way that they may think they do, was also the inconsistency of the roles and responsibilities of what a CTO with this company would be. So do you feel like no matter what industry they're working and you're coming into anything of the sort, what do you feel like is a core and essential a responsibility, a duty of a CTO that no matter what company, what startup, what business owner, who brought you in that you just have to have or have to be able to do in order for a business to be successful when it's all said and done?
Create a system, create a process. Software development moves so damn quickly, right? It's one of those departments you can keep on scaling out and keep on adding humans. Your process has to be able to withstand all these individuals coming in, and especially now post-COVID, remote work, totally fine, right? I can have a team member in Ukraine, another one in Brazil, in Canada, in the US, in France. Makes no bloody difference, right? They're all good. They all do that. And we all communicate over Slack. But the process in how code gets written, the standards in the company. Because yes, while we have general standards in the industry, we don't really have industry standards. We have generally agreed upon standards. Hey, what's Google doing? Okay, I guess let's just do it the Google way. I don't know. Or maybe we'll do it the Facebook way. That's because they're the big ones, right? So we copy and take bits and pieces from different industries, from different companies, and create a standard within a company. This is how we do things. That's it. Now, the CTO also needs to be an engineering expert. They have to be an expert. That's the difficulty. They have to be really, really good at engineering and architecture, but they also have to be really, really good at business. It's like asking a surgeon if he's willing to run the hospital as well while doing surgery. Yeah, could. It's going to be really, really hard because they need a team around them, right? So, so, so the first one is create systems and processes. Not complicated, right? Not very complicated. If it's done at the beginning, the company can scale very easily without even a manager for a very long time, right? If you're coming into a company, and most of the companies that I come into, there's zero processes, zero anything. It's just complete, it's the Wild West over there. It's chaos. It takes a little bit longer, but you need to be able to know how to take a system that's currently in place and evolve it into into how you want it to be. That comes into the third skill, which is storytelling. I need to talk a good game. Like, just, I need to talk a good game. If I'm talking to the CEO, you think he wants to hear code? He doesn't want to hear code. He wants to hear business. How is this going to help my business? If a client asks me, how is this going to help my business? I failed at explaining what I was doing. The CEO shouldn't even have any questions to ask, right? Because I need to be able to talk to him at his level and infer what the CEO needs and wants for his company and convert it to technical strategy, right? And be able to explain it to people to do it where I am not hands on. This whole hands on CTO, I've seen that term a lot, is like asking a surgeon if he's willing to wash the floor. Post surgery, just take out the mop. You're hands on. Take out the mop, man. Just, use some ammonia. But that's it.
Got you. Okay. Man, with each, I swear, I have a newfound outlook on the chief technology officer role now. It's just like, well,
Yeah.
so much that you don't think about, or so much that really goes into it, or like you said, it's so much that they may not even have yet, that I may not even be at the CTO level. That I think that's an interesting just realization or revelation for businesses, for companies, when they look back on numbers, when they look back on marketing, branding, and there's so many things that they sometimes want to move past or think that they're good or make that checkbox. But it's just like, no, before we even get there, hold on, let's handle this, let's do that, let's make that happen, let's do all that. Now, this system, I love it. I love anything with a system because it helps to order and make sense of things. The only challenge now that I have, to play devil's advocate a little bit with this AI, with the rise of it, with everything that we're talking about, and I could tell from your reaction, I already know you got an answer for it. But with AI moving so prevalent now, with it being so prominent, with everybody just talking about it, with it being immersed in so many different industries, does that at all threaten or challenge the role or the responsibilities of what a CTO does for different businesses?
So the only place the only impact that AI or conversational AI has, like, Chat GPT being in the current, in the minds of everyone, right? My father-in-law, a doctor who doesn't know computers, asks me about Chat GPT. You know that shit's dangerous right there, right? And I use it all the time. I love the thing, right? The only problem with conversational AI is that you're sharing source code and information with a third party entity. So ChatGPT is not allowed at Apple, at Google, at IBM, at most large organization, Pentagon, nowhere. Is not even allowed on the network. Nothing. Because people are afraid, what, are you going to upload a document about nuclear secrets and say, summarize this for me? Well, yeah, ChatGPT just got your, what? No, don't do that. But you know what? People are stupid. The person is smart. The individual person is intelligent. People are stupid, right? As a whole, they'll make mistakes, right? Someone's bound to make a mistake somewhere. So with AI, it is moving really quickly. There are code generators for AI, using AI. You can type in what you want. Great. It helps find information pretty quickly, but it won't write any good code. So with AI, if you're an idiot, AI is going to make you dumber. It's just going to exponentially make you dumber. If you're smart and you know what you're talking about, if you're a good engineer, AI is going to make you exponentially better. It's a force multiplier. That's all it is at the end of the day. If I don't know how to write code and I ask ChatGPT to write me code and I copy paste it, I don't know what's going on. So there's this joke running around where a developer will write code for 3 hours and debug for 7 hours. Okay. Now with ChatGPT, a developer will write code in 15 minutes using ChatGPT, but debug for 24 hours. Because they don't know what the hell going on. Doesn't know what's going on. Right? It's just some bunch of code that was written. That's it. So, yeah.
Got you. I got you. And I could definitely see how too becoming too reliant on that could say, it's almost like, when I think about our Quizlets or like the tags, or like when we wanted the answers to the test and people were posting them online. Yeah, that'll do me great in the moment. But what about the actual comprehension? I don't know anything. All I know, I memorized that, I copied that, I pasted that, I did that. But now when I have to actually explain this, or when it's a writing prompt, or when it's the cumulative exam where you bring everything in, I have no idea. So like you said, I can see how it could just add more, I guess, inconvenience to it. Or it could, in the moment, it could feel like it solved the problem. But now when you take this to your boss or your higher up or the company and you have to present it or talk about it, you're kind of just going to be, so it's just like, so that's very, very, very interesting, because I also feel like too, the whole notion behind AI and what everyone is talking about is just replacement, and it's just how it's taking what we do and then simplifying everything. But that can't be true, because there are just some things that it will do for you, but there's no explanation behind it. It'll take everything and it'll give it to you very quick. It'll give it to you very efficient, but there's no real reason.
And you have no idea if it's bullshit. There's a lawyer, a famous lawyer, who's getting in trouble. Probably going to get disbarred for asking ChatGPT to generate some arguments, some court arguments. And guess what ChatGPT does? It'll just make shit up if it can't find it, because that's what it does. It's not smart. It predicts what the next word should be based on the words that were written before. That's why when you use ChatGPT, sometimes it erases and rewrites, right? That's what it does. And then it just streams it out slowly but slowly. That's it. It's just a prediction engine. It happens to be trained on the compendium of human knowledge on the internet, right? Good and the bad, right? But it's just a prediction engine. It doesn't know. Now, where AI is going to benefit society, AI is the great equalizer. Okay? So I'm a great developer. I think I'm a fantastic engineer. Do I know every single function and line of code that I should be writing exactly from memory? That is impossible. That's like asking a lawyer to recite from rote memory the entire legal system. They've got all of the law, right? Or a tax attorney, spit me out, tell me like every tax law. I know the big ones. I know the new ones, the important ones. I have no idea. I'd have to research, right? So, and this is going to now kind of segue into technical recruiting, because this is really important, right? It's going to segue into technical recruiting. Expecting developers to know code and functions and functionality of a programming language from the top of their mind is stupid. It's straight up dumb. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. When you interview a lawyer, you don't ask them, can you recite to me the legal system about murdering someone? No. He's got to tell you, don't do it. That's pretty good start. But like the minutia, no. He won't know. He or she will not know. They need to research. They have paralegals. They need to pull that and see and how. And yes, at some point after 30, 40 years, they might have a subspecialty and they focus on that, but that's it. So developers, the way they are recruited in itself is a big problem. They're asked technical questions, come up with an answer like that. I have no idea. I fail every single technical exam I have ever been given. But you know what? I can code circles around most people, because I know how to structure code and how to put it together. But that's not something that is tested in most technical recruiting operations, right? Or tasks. No one does that, or very few people do that. I do that when I recruit people, right? I ask them, let's talk about how your brain works. That's what I want. I don't care about if it's the right answer. I've hired plenty of people that give me the wrong answer to a question, completely wrong, but you're thinking in the right way, and that's important, because knowing the actual answer, well, that's Google, and that's 5 minutes. That doesn't take long. Does not take long. You know.
Okay, so I love that segue into technical recruiting. I think that is so important, especially in this day and age, with just the increase in recruiting. I was even really having to think back to a lot of the jobs that I had growing up, and how a lot of it was really, well, these were paper application days. So you were dropping your application off to the local store or the establishment itself, coming back maybe a couple of days later, talking to the hiring manager, them telling you the manager's not there, is behind the door, everything like that. So it was very interesting with my most recent job, having to talk to a recruiter and really just seeing what that scope was like, and how sometimes this recruiter has really no may not work in your industry per se, may not do what you do, may not even know really what you do, but has a prereq or a preset of questions or just different things that they need to do to ask you. And if you don't hit these or do that, then they won't even pass you along. But how can someone not even in my industry per se really tell me what I did right or what I did wrong or how I was thinking, but somebody in the industry is going to tell me that, wow, yes, that answer was incorrect, but the thought process, how you got to it, how you're working, you're on the right track. But for a recruiter who's just looking for right or wrong, you'll fail every single time. And why should that keep me out of a job or not allow me? Because most of these jobs, when you get there, what do? They train you. They provide the segue into the leadership, and then you work your way up that totem pole, or you just pick and choose or decide how you kind of want to get in there. So, wow, I was seeing that question and really just hearing that, I was just like, wow, I wonder kind of what spin or what answer it is for that. But that makes absolute sense. And I feel like it's not even industry specific. It just is common across just the job market, the job search, everything that comes with it. Now, I want to focus on you as if we haven't already really been doing that. But I want to also talk about how people coming across this episode, people coming across your website, your services, your products may not know you personally or what you do. They could read a host of things. They could go through testimonials. They could see the work speak for itself. But I want people to also know about the experience that they get when working with Oshri. So when people are reaching out to you, when companies are coming to you, startups, business owners, entrepreneurs, everybody of the sort, what can they really expect when bringing you into their company in any capacity?
I'm a no bullshit kind of guy. That's it. I'm no BS. I don't care if you hire me. I don't care if you fire me. I will do exactly what is needed. You don't like it? That's fine. You go hire yourself a full-time CTO. Good luck. May you be well. But I don't bullshit. If you're going down the wrong path, if you're making the wrong decision, I'm going to tell it to your face. You're making a wrong decision. I don't support this decision. That's how you want to treat your employees? No, that's not how you should be treating your developers, right? You want to go down this path. First of all, why are you telling me about technology? You hired me to do the technology for you, but that's a different ballgame altogether. Maybe you saw something about AI on Forbes, in a Forbes magazine, right? And decided that this is the path that you need to take. So I am also a businessman. I've owned businesses. I own a business right now. I own two businesses. I've owned multiple businesses in the past, right? I know how to make money. I know how money is made. I know where money is wasted, organizationally speaking. A CTO is the CEO plus technology. That's what people don't get. It's not a geek in the basement, right? That's the thing. So when you get me, you get a business partner. I want to talk. My first question, show me the money. How do you make money? And people are like, what do you mean? Okay. How does money get into your bank account? I want to know the flow. Talk to me about the flow. We can call it the value chain. We can call it whatever you want. How do you make money? Talk to me. Explain it to me. Okay, we start with this and this and this. And once we make this, that's when a sale is made. And that's how we generate revenue. Excellent. That's your critical path. Most of your engineering dollars are going to go on that path. Everything else is going to get 25, 50% or 25% or 10%. And we're going to spread it out that way. So we're going to focus on the core business. Now, you're going to spin up another one? Let's focus on another one. We can have two of them. That's fine. We can have 5, we can have 10 different revenue streams. But that's what you get with me. Our first conversation has nothing to do with technology. It's all about business. How you make money, what frustrates you, what keeps you up at night. Something's keeping you up, and now you're an entrepreneur. You don't sleep just like me. You need some sleep aids, you know what I mean? So, I know something worries you. Talk to me, right? The second thing I do, once you do hire me or you decide to hire me, is I say, no, not yet. You're not going to hire me just yet, right? It's because I take the approach of a hell yes or a no right from the get-go. You've got a team, they need to love me. They need to want me. Because if I don't have their buy-in at the beginning, and I've made that mistake in the past, I didn't get the buy-in at the beginning, my job becomes so much harder, right? I need that buy-in. I need them to come in open-minded. It's like, we're going to work with us. We're going to solve some problems. Let's do it now. Boom, right? So I request a meeting with all stakeholders. And sometimes, you know what? It'll cost me 10 hours. That's 10 billable hours. That's a lot of money just to evaluate a client. But I'm going to keep my clients for about a year. So to me, it makes sense, right? To invest that kind of money, that kind of time. And what I do is technical talk therapy. I sit there like a therapist, and I'm jotting down. I'm actually playing tic-tac-toe, like all therapists, right? I'm kidding, but I record the interview and I'm like, lay it on me. Talk to me. Technical talk therapy. What bugs you? What bugs you about the developers? What bugs you about a developer, about the product, about the technology? What do you hate about your job? I want to know what you hate about your job. Oh, I hated that I have to copy paste. Oh, you got to copy paste. Hold on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That alone tells me you're missing a system somewhere. That's a big problem, right? And this is something the CEO doesn't even know, because you know what happens? Have you ever heard of the Emperor's New Clothes? The story Emperor's New Clothes, right? Emperor's running around naked, but everyone's afraid of telling him he naked. So he's telling their clothes are amazing. Yeah. But guess what? Your employees are not going to tell you that they're having a hard time doing their job because they're afraid of being looked as incompetent. They don't know how you'll receive this information. Now, not all CEOs and founders are like that. Some are very mature and they're like, if you don't know what to do, tell me and I will make sure of it. Make sure you can do your job properly. But that's like 1 out of 1,000,000. I've encountered that kind of boss twice in 23 years, in 25 years, twice. And I work for a lot of people, right? That's nuts. So I speak to the people and I tell them the conversation is completely anonymous. I'm not going to share any of this information. I'm going to share the broad strokes, but I'm not going to share specifics. So please talk to me. Be very, very direct and clear with me, right? That's what you can expect. I come in and I embed myself everywhere in ops and sales and marketing. I embed everywhere because they all need technology. Typically, they'll hire the CTO. Oh, I need an FCTO because my engineering team is not producing well enough. Well, you know what? Sometimes it has nothing to do with the engineering team. Sometimes it's your product team that's not feeding the engineering team properly. And so the engineering team doesn't know what to do. But the product team is complaining that they're not doing enough. But product has a problem because they don't have any of the data that they need in order to make product decisions. So they go back to engineering and say, we need data. Engineers don't understand what the hell they're talking about because they didn't specify. And then it's just a round robin of bullshit. Just wasting time. That's what you can expect from me. I come in and I change shit.
All right. Hey, look, we love change, and sometimes it's change for the better. Sometimes it's reluctant change. Sometimes it's change we don't want to do. But no. I really do love to hear that because some people need that. It's one thing to go through a website, read about the about us, the contact page, the testimonials, what brought me into business, everything like that. But it's another thing to really hear it from the source. And I feel like a lot of times that's where the disconnect is. People go through these contact us pages or these emails or these help channels or customer service.
Yeah, it's not enough. Yeah,
and never get that direct connection. So I love that intentionality behind everything that you do. And I love that it's unapologetic, whether they like it or not. You probably told people some things that they don't like. That's business. That's how it goes. Do you want to change it and do better? Or do you want to keep going along the lines that you are and you don't need me? But if you're going to solicit my services, you're going to solicit everything that I have to offer. Not just one, not just two. You're going to get everything because this is what comes with what I
because you're hiring a CTO. That's my job. My job is to do that.
You said the CTO plus technology. I like that.
I got to run the business. I should be able to run the business without you there. That's the reality, right? I need to understand sales, and I'm like, oh, that's how you're doing your and connect all the dots. I need. That's why the CTO is such a hard role to fulfill, right? And that's why a proper CTO, if it costs you any less than $500,000 a year, what are you getting? Now, you said a lot of your listeners are startups. So there's an advisory that I have to give startups, right? Because a lot of them are they have the wrong idea. Let's just say that, right? They got the wrong idea. Equity. Paying just in equity is the biggest bullshit I've ever seen in my life. It doesn't make any sense because you're going to get two kinds of people when you're paying just equity. You're going to get the kid in his or her mother's basement because, they got no costs. So, but if they've got no costs and no life, How much experience do they have? I don't know about that. Maybe you find that one guy or one gal that actually has 20 years but still in their mama's basement. But how mature are they? Like, like there's something wrong, right? Or you get the eccentric millionaire who feels like working, right? But why would they want to work for you? And you think they're going to get their hands dirty? So paying only in equity, you're going to get two bad decisions. Maybe the millionaire is a pretty decent decision and you get a lot of experience from there and whatnot, but those are 1 in a million. There aren't that many of those, and they're not going to come work for you. Most likely you're going to shift onto the left, which is going to be you're going to get some person who pretends to be a CTO because they think that a CTO is writing really good code, right? That's the word of caution. Like, just don't even, if you think that, no, think that. Equity and stock options is a lottery ticket, and most of the time you don't get three cherries. You just get you get nothing.
All right. So, man, you've opened my eyes up a lot, and I'm sure that there are even some people on here who are doing some evaluation or rewinding some of the things that you said, or even looking more internal and maybe taking a step back. And maybe CTO was next on their list. Maybe they bumped it down a little bit lower because they're just not there just yet. So before we tell people where they can find you, where they can tap in, where they can learn more about what it is you do you feel like there's anything that we have not touched on today, that even last words that you want to leave for business owners, startups, entrepreneurs, even a future outlook for what you're thinking about after this client, after the summer's over, everything of this? Or is there anything that you want to leave for the people out there and everybody tapping in and listening?
So the fractional CTO is not only for startups. Startups is a natural, because it's very engineering focused, so it's a natural connection. But most of my clients are small businesses, not startups, right? They're revenue generating. They're $5 to $50 million a year. They're making money. They're a going concern. They need to have a strong technical foundation, right? And think in technological ways. And so those are most of my clients. Now, it may be that you can't afford a fractional CTO. You surely can't afford a CTO, that's for sure, if you can't afford a fractional one, right? So what I also do is I act as a CTO on retainer, right? You pay a very, very small fee every month. It basically buys you blocks of hours, but I am there to answer your questions when you need them. And you know what? One question answered by a person like me, like any fractional CTO, myself or anybody else, can save you 100K like this. Snap of a finger. No, there's no amount of money that you can pay me that is worth the advice you get. There just isn't. I need to be charging $10,000 an hour because of the amount of money I would save you going down the wrong path. And you're making that decision right now. And with technology, you don't go slowly down the wrong path. You're barreling like a train, just flying down the wrong path. And then to change tracks, you got to slow down. It's a big headache. So if you, from a technology point of view, an organizational point of view, if you're going down the wrong tracks, man, your business could die right there and then. It could die, right? I'll give you an example. I've worked in the public transportation business, right? And I was a VP of engineering there. And their core server, the server that connects all buses in a city, is a single application sitting on a server that they lost access to like 3 years ago. They didn't even know where the server was. If their server falls, the bus system of a city falls. This is insanity. This is insanity. It's insanity. But they were going down the wrong path because they didn't have anyone to advise them to do it correctly. The processes, the setup, everything, architecture, all of that. Right? I survived there about 6 months. All I saw was skeletons. I opened things. Oh, damn it, skeletons. Oh, this is a rotting corpse. It's not even a skeleton yet. I'm just forget this. And it's like there's nothing I can do here. I'm sorry. There's just too much. Right?
I love
That's
that. I love that what you do can be done in so many different capacities, and people don't realize that. People just hear that title and they think it's just one thing. So, man, I appreciate you. Like I told y'all at the beginning of the interview, I can't tell he brought the energy. If you didn't laugh at any point in this interview or learn something or anything, then go back to 000 and hit play again and run it all the way back again. But no, Oshri, really just thank you. One, thank you for wanting to be a part of the podcast. Thank you for the gems, just the insight that you gave to my business owners, my entrepreneurs, and then even the call to action just the same, because we love that on all facets. But now, arguably the most important part, where can people find you? Where can people looking to learn more, a little bit about the CTO, the fractional model, everything like that? Where are the best places to reach you, tap in with you? Obviously, they can't become a client. You're a one client man as of right now. So what can people do to get?
Oh, they can't. I won't say no to clients. I'm not actively looking for clients. There's a different ball.
Clients are, no, let's get them in. But no, what can people do? Just wanting to learn more about that, wanting to even see you, your services, everything that you offer. What are the best places?
So my website, oshricohen.me, not .com. The .com one is a model on a horse without a shirt. If you think that's me, and some people think it's me, I take it as a, thank you very much. That's a very nice thing to say, but it is not me. I'm not on a horse without a shirt on. So oshricohen.me. You can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm very, very active on LinkedIn. So connect with me. You're going to learn something because I'm constantly giving advice about issues that I'm encountering every day with clients, right? And I'm giving solutions. So I give a lot, and people do learn of me a lot. And you're soon going to see my ads all over the place because now, I'm going to be plastering the internet and trying to get more clients and growing a practice. But, that's how you're going to find me. Find me on LinkedIn, ask me a question, knock yourself out. It doesn't hurt.
Time and time again on this podcast, y'all, we get people who come on here, we make themselves available as resources. And I encourage y'all each and every time, do not take it lightly. If they're telling you to connect with them, if they're telling you to ping them, if they're telling you that they'll answer things, make things clear, debunk any stereotypes or myths, or confirm things or deny things, don't just let that pass you by, because some of what he's saying, some of what he's offering to you, some people are trying to charge for it. Some people are just keeping it exclusive or in communities or gatekeeping. So look, take Oshri up on his offer, do what he does, and figure out what's best for you, your small business, your startup, entrepreneurial journey, anything of the sort. But Oshri, from down to business to you, man, thank you so much. We're always here to support.
Thank you.
Corner. Anything that you may need, any way that we can help. Definitely hope this episode was one thing to just propel you and to continue to put you in the spotlight of others. But thank you. Thank you for the insight. Thank you for the gems. Thank you for even teaching us some things today. And to everybody out there who continuously taps in, who continuously listens, whether you came from Oshri's side, my side, or whether you're a brand new listener, I love you. I appreciate you. And this has been another episode of the Down to Business podcast here with Tamar Turner.